there's this perception that Will Levis dropped. Woe is him, he's screwed. And Anthony Richardson gets the 4th overall pick, and he's going to light the world on fire, right? So now, first contract money-wise, yeah, Anthony Richardson's going to be a little happier than Will Levis, right? It is what it is. They're both going to make a very, very comfortable living, millions of dollars, yada, yada, yada. Good stuff. You make more of your money on your second contract anyway, so depending on how they do, that's what will really determine financial career success. So outside of just the contract thing, like I said, there's this perception that Levis falls, he's now worse off. That's not exactly true. So let's start with Anthony Richardson. He's going to get a rookie quarterback, a rookie head coach. Rookie head coach, he is a rookie quarterback. An offensive line is very underwhelming outside of guard, and we all know that guard is not necessarily the big ticket to winning. More left tackle, center is what we're looking for. The weapons outside of Michael Pittman are very underwhelming, and even Michael Pittman is known more as a jump ball guy, not necessarily a guy that separates, not exactly a very crisp route runner, separates, not a burner down the field. So an underwhelming receiving core, underwhelming offensive line, rookie coach, owner who is just constantly meddling. He ran the last, 4 quarterbacks out of town. Or Will Levis on the flip side. Derrick Henry. Now, the offensive line is definitely in a rebuild, but you go get Peter Skoronski. Hopefully, he could be a piece you build around. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. Did I say Derrick Henry? Yeah, Derrick Henry, offensive line. The defense is okay. The front 7 is really nice. Secondary could use some work, but they got some young guys coming back in the secondary. Hopefully, they can make a difference. And you get a fantastic head coach in Mike Vrabel. What I view as a top 7 to 8 coach in the league. What they've been able to do over the last 3 years, right? Number 1 seed, go into Arrowhead and upset Mahomes the year before. With the roster that they have, that's a second place roster. That's a wild card roster, and they've been the 1 seed, the 2, the 3, winning playoff games, going on the road, winning playoff games. So what they've been able to do is really, really impressive. So there's this view that Levis falls, he's now going to have a worse career, he's worse off. Richardson goes higher, he's automatically destined for more success. That's not always the case. We know that these quarterbacks, if you take, let's go 4 quarterbacks in the first round, if you do in a draft, we know that one's going to be a stud, right? Like from the Trevor Lawrence draft, for example. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, Justin Fields. There's actually 5 there. 1, Trevor Lawrence, stud. 2, really going to depend where you land. Like Justin Fields, I think if he lands somewhere else, probably a lot better. Right now, he's dealing with average weapons, bad offensive line, leadership's right? Mac Jones lands with New England, right? He's exactly what you would expect from a limited quarterback that lands in New England. Kind of limited, pretty efficient, a little bit feisty because they're not really surrounded with a ton of weapons. Exactly what we expected based on where he lands, right? So same thing here. We think probably between Young, Stroud, Richardson, we'll throw Levis in the first round for sake of discussion. We know one is probably maybe not a stud like a Trevor Lawrence, but is going to be a viable NFL starter for the next, let's go 6 years, right? Because the number one guy that we think will be that guy isn't necessarily the most durable. So we're going to the next 6 years, Bryce Young will be a bona fide starter. Everybody else, complete roll of the dice. Complete roll of the dice. Depends on where you land. And if this morning, if I wake up Will Levis, I'm happier about where I landed than if I wake up as Anthony Richardson. I'm just saying it right now.
It's a way better environment. Way better.
Not to mention you're in Nashville. I'll rip that. That's nice.
Plus.
Yeah, we like that.
I'll take Nashville over Indianapolis. Guys, look, it's going to be one of those... I feel like this is one of those drafts where it's so cloudy right now, and it was so clouded during draft day, and it's really tough to project like the difference between these two quarterbacks. Obviously, we had Levis higher, but really the cards could fall either way.
Right.
I feel like in a couple years, you're going to look back on the 2023 draft, and it's going to be like, oh, well, of course, blank, fill in the blank was better.
Right.
And I'm really not sure which one. Now, we've talked that the situation has to be, like, perfect for Will Levis to be inserted into. He didn't have all the pieces at Kentucky. You're not going to get all the pieces wherever you go in the NFL, but at least you have more of a semblance of something being built in the right direction in Tennessee than you do in Indianapolis.
Indianapolis is full rebuild.
They haven't been able to figure it out since Andrew Luck left.
Yeah, that's full rebuild.
So I'm not sure that Anthony Richardson, who is a fine quarterback, but I'm not sure he possesses the strengths and the capabilities to lead an organization into their next big guy.
Right.
And like transcend that organization into what they would like to be. And obviously what that would be is vying for a Super Bowl spot. Now we're not going to know for 17 weeks. 17 weeks is how far we are from NFL kickoff. So it's going to be interesting throughout like spring mini camp. And then you're going to get into, well, first you'll have the rookie camps, and then you'll have OTAs and all the training camps.
And then training camp, yeah.
Preseason. Obviously, you're probably going to see both of these guys during preseason.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. I, for one, think that Levis will end up having the better career, but I think that Anthony Richardson has, like...
more upside. Anthony Richardson's ceiling is higher, but I think Will Levis is in a better spot.
Because he is able to extend plays with his feet. He has way more legs than Will Levis does.
So right now, let me ask you a question. Justin Fields or Mac Jones?
I'm going to take Justin Fields.
See, this is going to prove my point. I would take Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is a more accurate, more consistent distributor of the football. I think Justin Fields right now is a highlight reel. I think Anthony Richardson is going to be wildly athletic, jump over people, run a 4-3 down the sideline for a 34-yard touchdown. But I think Will Levis, with a little bit of coaching, a little bit of grooming, could be a more accurate, more consistent player.
I agree with that, but I think the game is moving more towards you run, can you do both?
Yeah,
and I think Richardson does more of that, and I think Justin Fields does more of that.
That's fair. I think it's closer between Fields and Mac Jones. But like Levis, I think, is going to be a significantly more consistent player.
And let's not forget, it's not.
And he can also move a little bit.
I was going to say, let's not act like Levis can't run.
Yeah, no. Levis is a much better athlete than Mac Jones. That's just kind of the first one that came to my head because personally, like I said, I would take Mac Jones. I know what I'm going to get every Sunday. I'm going to get 67% completion percentage, 200 yards. Might not be the most flashy 200 yards, but 200 yards. Probably a touchdown or two, maybe a pick. Right? Yeah. I know what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Justin Fields, I can go get 4 picks, no problem. Yeah, he might run one in from 80 yards out. Sweet. It's very inconsistent, very frenetic.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of like the run versus quarterbacks either. I like a guy that can pass, that can throw from the pocket primarily, but then also has the legs to fall back on, and when he uses them is special with them.
And that's what I said about Mahomes. It's not the spectacular that sets Mahomes apart. Yes, he could do that. It's the fact that in between his spectacular plays is just stretches of mundane domination.
Which is needed, though. That's so needed.
Exactly. Right? It's where you don't even realize it, but you look up, he's hit his last 9 for the last 86 yards. Yeah. He's got a touchdown, and he's just in total command. It's like cruise control. Get it, hit your back foot, out, boom, there's 9 yards. Get it, back foot, out, 4 yards. Like, it's just mundane, boring, consistent, right? That's what Brady always was. People always dink and dunk Brady. Yeah, it was brutal to be on the other side of it, though.
Yeah, and then when you need it, Mahomes can rip one off for like 25 yards, rush, get out of bounds real nice. Doesn't lower the shoulder like Josh Allen does. Stays a little more healthy that way, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, guys, that